welcome, freaks and fiends, to a special episode of Real Talk with the Doctor. This week, we're not just doing a review, we have an interview. We are talking to Michael Rock, the man who made the movie we reviewed last week, I Hate Found Footage. This is unlike any interview I've done before. This is something fresh, something new. I tried something a little bit different. Instead of going with a full-on questionnaire, I just tried to have a conversation with the man. And what we got was it was an awesome chat. We go right into Mike's early days. He's struggles with his youth, his military career, his post-military career, and what got him into movies and what got him making movies, and where he's going next with it. It's an interesting chat start to finish. So what we're going to do right now is I am going to play for you the review I did for I Hate Found Footage last week. We're going to put it right here after this intro, and straight after that we will kick into the chat with Mike Rock. It's nearly an hour and a half long. Like I said, super interesting. We get into all sorts of everything chatting. I hope you enjoy it, and go check out the movie. It's out next month. I Hate Found Footage, and I'll see you after the interview. I Hate Found Footage. When two roommates head into the woods to make a found footage movie, they stumble across something they never expected. Their low-budget film shoot quickly turns into a fight for survival in this horror comedy. Written and directed by Michael Rock and starring Eddie Blake, Michael Rock, Amanda Morgan, Hannah Welty, and Blake Heyer. Now, there is a very specific grimy magic to the found footage genre. It's a format we genuinely love because it strips away the studio polish, throws away the safety net, and drags you right into the dirt with the characters. But let's be totally honest. The exact tropes that make it so immersive are also what makes it beautifully easy to playfully roast. We all know the sacred formula. Long agonizing stretches of people just hiking endlessly through the trees. Painfully authentic but completely disjointed conversations about absolutely nothing. And those chaotic, frantic camera drops that somehow always end up focusing on an extreme close-up of a terrified nostril. It's a beloved, tried and true recipe for dread. But when you step back and really look at the mechanics of it, it's a sandbox that is practically begging to be messed with. Enter Ollie and Filbert, two characters who look like they just took a wrong turn off of Sesame Street and wandered straight into the horrorverse. I Hate Found Footage follows these two aspiring filmmakers who just happen to be felt puppets heading deep into the woods to shoot a low-budget found footage masterpiece. Unfortunately for them, they stumble right into the middle of a very real, very human, sacrificing cult conducting their annual hunt for doomed campers. Now, personally, I absolutely love the found footage gimmick. In fact, if you think about it, what we do here on this podcast is essentially the audio equivalent of found footage. We take these insane, dark, horrifying stories, we dive into the lore, and we talk about them like they're 100% real. It's about building a world and fully committing to the bit. Found footage does the exact same thing visually, and that shared DNA is exactly why a movie like I Hate Found Footage hits my sweet spot. Despite the aesthetic, by its very nature, I Hate Found Footage is not a found footage movie. It's a movie about puppets who set off to make a found footage movie. So from the outset, we are firmly in the spoof and parody playground. I bring this up because found footage is all about committing to the bit, and this film uses that rule to its advantage by refusing to play it straight. From the get-go, Ollie and Filbert are making fun of the found footage tropes we know so well. You get those long periods of walking and talking where nothing really happens. The close-up shots of the terrified filmmakers confessing their fears to the camera, selfie style, and the shaky shots cutting in and out to disguise the low FX budget by forcing your imagination to do the heavy lifting with the kills. It takes aim and fires shot from the first frame all the way to the last. The best thing about this movie, though, is that it makes fun in a respectful way. You can tell the movie was made with a deep love for the genre. The long walking shots are filled with dad jokes so lame they loop back around to being hilarious, and each sly dig is pointedly acknowledged by the puppets as they lay them in. Yet, despite the absurdity, you still find yourself drawn in by the characters to the point that you actually start to worry about their fate. Will Ollie and Filbert survive the machetes? Will they get the girls and beat the bad guys? And is it really a one and done project as Filbert claims in the film? One of the smartest decisions the filmmakers made here is respecting the audience's time. Clocking in at a brisk 61 minutes, the movie knows exactly what it is, and it doesn't try to stretch a brilliant sketch comedy premise into a bloated 2-hour slog. We've all seen indie horrors that run out of gas at 45-minute mark because they fall in love with their own gimmick. But I Hate Found Footage hits the accelerator and keeps its foot down. It uses that incredibly tight runtime to perfectly highlight the absurdity of the carnage on screen. You have these imposing, deadly serious cult members in the woods, real actors doing real horrific slasher damage, and their ultimate targets are literally made out of fleece and foam. Watching a menacing machete-wielding killer try to violently execute a hand puppet is lowbrow physical comedy at its absolute finest. One of the best and most downright absurd moments in the film has to be the campsite massacre scene. Instead of checking for vitals like a normal human being, our felt-lined heroes searched for survivors by actively trying to break the actors playing dead. They hit these blood-soaked corpses with a barrage of jokes so incredibly juvenile that anyone with a working pulse would have to break character and crack a smile. It's a brilliant meta joke about low-budget filmmaking right in the middle of a slaughter. But my absolute favourite trope they roast is the obsessive filmmaker who simply refuses to drop the camera. We've all screamed at the screen during a found footage movie to just drop the damn GoPro and run, but here it's played for pure laughs. Even as the body count rises and the real world horror closes in, Ollie is completely obsessed with getting the best shots for his fake movie. He ignores the absolute danger they're in just to secure the perfect lighting and framing, much to Filbert's growing frantic annoyance. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I expect to see this film in the running for an Oscar next year. Maybe it'll sweep the Foundies. Who knows? It's a micro-budget movie that is clearly done for the love of the game. But that lack of budget doesn't take away from its entertainment value. The idea is solid, the light-hearted nature in which it's shot is spot on, and the comedy is cheesy but oddly satisfying. It's a passion project that delivers exactly what it promises on the poster. 3 volts out of 5 says this movie is alive. All right, I'm here with Michael Rock. Do you prefer Michael or Mike?
You can call me Mike.
Mike
is cool.
Rock.
Yep.
Right, Mike. I have been checking out a lot of your films. Obviously, you sent me I Hate Found Footage, and I loved it. But before we get to that, I kind of want to, because I feel like when it comes to people's movies, especially your movies, from watching your movies, you seem to really let real life spill into your films. Your actual backstory is told throughout Tahoe Joe and stuff like that. We get a lot of
Mhm.
your personal life and all that. So I started digging a bit because I wanted to see what the real Mike was like.
Yeah,
Um, so I started with your Instagram. So you're originally from Massachusetts.
I am. Yeah, Springfield, Massachusetts, home of basketball, Dr. Seuss, and Smith and Wesson guns.
Straight into the guns. All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, So the one thing I noticed on your Instagram when you mentioned your early life was you had like a post up and it just said hood life in Massachusetts. And then there was a picture of you,
Yeah.
there was a picture of you with a bandana on and the whole gangster look one. So in your early life, was it were things a bit rough? Were you a bit or were you just I'll put it this way, were you
Yeah.
was it a rough upbringing or were you to put it politely, were you just a little bit of a shit as a child?
Both. Both. Yeah. Yeah. So I had a mom who loved me very much. Um, but I didn't know my dad. So my mom kicked my dad out when I was one. She got pregnant for me at 15, had me at 16, dropped out of the 10th grade, and never had a career, so we were always poor. We lived in my grandma's house. I was I was the only white kid in an all Puerto Rican school, or all white kid in an all Puerto Rican neighborhood, and
Okay.
so that in turn,
Well,
I
you
was
had to
one of
be
the
tough.
only white kids at the schools and stuff like that. So my early years, they all got along with me. Everybody got along. But then as time went on, more and more my friends moved away, and now all these racist people moved in that just completely hated white people. So then my life started to get hard. It's walking down the street, I was harassed and jumped and bullied in school and stuff like that. I was never a good student in school. I was always getting F's and D's and stuff like that. So I graduated high school with D's and summer school. So that's how I graduated high school.
Well,
Um,
fair play to
yeah,
get through it
and
in the meantime. I mean, when you're coming from a rough upbringing, a hard upbringing like that, to finish school at all is usually a bit of a miracle, like, you know?
yeah, yeah, and I've read about this too, about like bullying and trauma and stuff like that. And it's not that I didn't want to learn. It's just when you're in that situation, instead of thinking about the subjects that the teacher's teaching, you're thinking about, okay, which route am I going to take to my next class? Because I know these guys want to beat me up. I know these guys want to beat me up. It's this day of the week. So, people are going to hit me up for lunch money and stuff like that. So I got to try to avoid them. And that just became my life, and
I
there's
want.
times where I went to the teachers and stuff like that, and they didn't give a crap. It's like, hey, look, these people are bullying me. They're threatening to beat me up and jump me. Help. And teachers would just tell me to go away. And so that was my early years.
I see. I think we were unlucky in that sense, myself and you, of the time we grew up, because I had a lot of the same issues. I was.
Oh yeah.
My mother says that I was a flying underachiever. That she knew I could get good grades, but it wasn't happening. I was the same
Yeah.
D's, E's, F's until I got to big exams and I crammed like a maniac the night before and just managed to pass barely through. But similar
Yeah.
issues where I come from a small Irish town, metalheads and stuff like that were usually a
Yeah.
small little group, and we were picked on because we were the metalheads. We were the goth freaks, as they called us. So
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of mapping my way to class, because I was one of the bigger kids in my class, which helped me out a little bit, people didn't want to fuck with
Yeah.
me because of my size. But I didn't have to map my way out to class. I had to map my way out home. How was I going to get to my house and pass
Yeah.
through the other neighborhoods without getting caught by certain people? Like, so I
Yeah. Yeah.
understand that 100%, and it is difficult. And obviously, I mean, the American culture when it comes to racism and even the kind of segregation of one people into one neighborhood. I've heard a lot about, how the treatment of people can be. And I mean, I've heard we did a bit on Freddie Prince Sr., and he was joking about how he was a little bit of everything. So everyone wanted to beat him up when he walked down the street. And,
Oh yeah.
and you can see that. I mean, you can see how you would have been struggling at that point in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
in an all Puerto Rican neighborhood if they didn't want you around there. But
Yeah.
so is it that kind of life that led you into the military, or was the military something that you had no
Yeah.
option to get into, or was it something that you were drawn to because of your early experiences?
Well, so at a certain point in time, I was like 15 years old. I was failing school, and it was just a bad life. Uh, my stepdad at the time, his family lived in Florida, and so my mom was like, "All right, we got to get you out of here so you can hopefully do something with your life." So we packed up shop and we moved to Florida. And at one point in Florida, we all lived in a double wide trailer. It was 21 of us in a double wide trailer.
Holy
And
shit.
yeah, yeah. And it was infested with, there was fleas. Everybody had lice, head lice, scabies, body lice, stuff like that. And it was pretty bad. But it's in Florida where I kind of started to transform. I started to kind of become my own man, started to stick up for myself. And so after about a year, my mom and stepdad, they realized they couldn't make it in Florida because it was a small farming community and they weren't farmers at all. So we moved back to Springfield, Massachusetts to a different section and it was a crap hole. We lived in a hood. And so after graduating high school, I kind of took a look around, looked at my friends and see where I was hanging out all the time. I was hanging out in the projects and doing stupid stuff, breaking into cars and all that. And something just clicked to me, man. I was like, dude, if I don't get out of here, I'm gonna wind up in prison or be dead quickly. And
Yeah.
so I was working a job one day and there was a girl I was dating. It was the first non-trashy girl I ever dated. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was, she was a pretty girl and she had both of her parents and they lived in a nice duplex house and she had a car that was from the same decade, stuff like that. And I was like, man, what the heck? I wasn't used to that stuff. And so I found out her dad worked for the MEP station. He was in the army and he worked for the MEP station. That's where you go when you initially enlist. You do your physical exams, you sign your contract and stuff like that. And so I remember him telling me about the army. And one day I was working this go nowhere job and it just sprung in my head about what he told me. I was like, the army. Yeah, let me check this out. And so I went on a website and it said, "Do you want to explore an M1 tank?" I was like, "Yes, I do." And then so I called up the recruiter next day. I was like, "Hey, check it out. My name's Mike. I want to join the army. I want to be on tanks." And the guy was like, "All right, where do you live? I'm going to come to your house." And so he came to my house, talked to me, had like a little tanker motivational video and stuff like that. And I signed up. And
That,
I wanted to get away from home. I wanted to get out of my bubble. So I picked Fort Hood, Texas. That's where I went for my initial enlistment in the army.
I mean, that takes massive balls to begin with because, I mean, again, not to pick on your country, but you like to get into a fight. You seem to
Yeah.
constantly, you're constantly in some war. So I mean,
Yeah.
you know, enlisting that you're most likely going to see some action. Like it's not like here in Ireland, you join the army; it's peacekeeping missions.
Yeah.
Tops.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're a neutral country. We don't get into scraps with anybody.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean,
Yeah.
straight away, you know
Yeah.
straight away you're getting into some real shit.
Yeah, I had those thoughts, so I decided to join the army and I didn't want to, the army has something like 250 jobs to choose from, right? But I felt like if I'm going in, I have to pick a combat arms. If something was pushing me towards the combat side. And I was like, well, what's safer than being in a 70-ton tank, right? So I joined as a tanker and I did that. I did that stint for 4 years. And in the 4 years, I acquired a wife and some kids and all sort of jazz. And um, that's where I saw Green Berets for the first time. I was in Iraq in 2003, near the start of the war over there,
Yeah, yeah.
and we were in this makeshift movie theater. And a guy comes in and he said, "Hey, Green Berets are here. Everybody needs to get out because they need this building to get ready for a mission." And so when I left the building, I saw the helicopter land and I saw the Green Berets get out, and I was like, "Wow, those guys are freaking rock stars." But at the time, like when I was over there, my wife just had my ex-wife now, just had our second kid, and I just wanted to get out and be a family man. I wanted to live a regular life, raise a family and stuff like that. So I got out. I did some odd jobs for 4 years, and I freaking hated it. Like I hated being a normal guy. But the
Yeah.
Green Beret thing always stuck on my head. So I was like, you know what? Before I get too old, I got to go try this. I got to go try my hand at being a Green Beret. And so I got with a recruiter and I went back in, and one thing led to another, and I ended up getting it. So
Holy shit. So they godfathered you just when you thought you were out, they pulled you back in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to go back in. I wanted to go back in, man. I hated regular life. I did
I
various
absolutely
jobs,
understand that.
Yeah,
I
like
100% understand that.
I worked at TSA for a year, at the airports, the guy with the
Yeah.
wand. I
Hmm.
did that for a year, freaking hated it. I sold cars. Like I worked for it's no longer a thing, but Saturn. Like I
Yeah.
was an assistant new car manager at Saturn. I worked at Lexus, and I just hated it. Like it wasn't me. I felt like I was put here for something else.
I 100% get that. And that's one thing. I mean, like I said, I've been kind of seen a few of your things before, but the last few days, knowing I was going to talk to you, I've been binging a few things. The sun was shining yesterday. I spent all day on my hammock and I watched the Tahoe Joe trilogy again. And, but yeah, I mean, I 100% understand that idea of because my motto is the worst thing you can be in life is boring. Do you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you has to be. I see other people and they're going to their regular 9 to 5 job and they're mad. I just see these people as marching to the grave. It's like, what the
yeah,
fuck are you doing? You got to get out there and do something with your life, do something interesting, do something fun. You only get one go, do
yeah,
something with it,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And I mean, that's why I've been excited to talk to you as well. And why? Because before we started the show, I kind of explained to Mike there that I was going to be a bit more free flowing with my conversation today rather than my usual rigid uh, questionnaire. And I mean, like, I felt comfortable doing that with you because I saw how much meat there was on the bone before I got in here. I was like, this dude has
yeah.
fucking lived. He's done some shit. He has done wild stuff. So, I mean, before we get into because some of this is crazy, but I mean, when it comes to because I don't know, I'm Irish. We don't have a big military here. What would be because we've always heard from watching TV and watching movies, the Marines are kind of seen as the kings of the military or the way they play it up on TV. What's the difference then between a Marine and a Green Beret? What makes a Green Beret the top tier when it comes to military
Well,
outfits?
and I've been asked before, like, who's the toughest, who's the best, and stuff like that. And there's not a definitive answer, right? Like, they all do different stuff. Marines, you have Marines, Air Force, Navy, stuff like that. Inside each of those groups, there's specific jobs. So you could be in the Marines, but you could also be a cook. Same thing as the Army. You can be an Army, but you can be a light wheel mechanic or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So a Green Beret, the official title is U.S. Army Special Forces,
Mhm.
and they do a bunch of things. So in order to get my Green Beret, I had to go to Special Forces Assessment and Selection, which it's a couple weeks of just a beat down mentally and physically. Just drive you into the ground, very little sleep, high attrition rate. And if you survive that, that's saying you're good enough to get your foot in the door. That's saying you're good enough to attempt training, right? And so at selection, they give you which job and which language you're going to learn. So for me, they said because I scored a certain amount on this language test. So for me, they gave me Persian Farsi as my second language. All Green Berets speak at least two languages. And
Okay.
so they gave me Persian Farsi. I had to go to language school for that and pass the test. And then you get to kind of pick which job, right? Like you put like a wish list of which job you want.
Hmm.
For me, I was a bad student and I was never good at math. And so, my wife tells me I picked the path of the most resistance, and it's true because I knew out of all the jobs for a Green Beret to have, the hardest one for me would be Special Forces Engineer Sergeant. You're dealing with explosives, demolitions, construction, stuff like that. So it's very, very math heavy. And so I knew that would be a giant uphill battle. So of course that's the one I picked. And so with Green Berets, it's typically a 12-man team, and each person has a specific job, right? You have two engineers, you have two medics, two communications guys, two weapons guys, and so forth. And one of our main things is we'll go into a country. Like there's a saying that's 12 men go into a jungle, 100 men come out. So we'll go into a country and we'll train up like the guerrilla force that's trying to overthrow their corrupt government or something like that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll go in there. Yeah. So we'll train those guys up, teach them how to fight, teach them tactics, stuff like that, how to fight as a unit.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then when it's all said and done, we'll slip out and let them take all the credit. Like we don't want the credit. We want these guys to take the credit. So their fellow countrymen see that they're the heroes, not the Americans. Right. But then there's also other stuff that we do, like we have spy teams and stuff like that. So in Green Berets, we have a whole bunch of different missions. So it's not just one. It's not just go on a patrol and look for bad guys. Right. So my team in Afghanistan, we were a direct action mission. So my team's goal was to uh, to come up with a plan to kill or capture high value targets. And so we would find a high value Taliban target. We'd find out where he is using our wizardry and stuff like that. We'd hop on the gunships. We'd hop on our gun trucks, stuff like that. And we'd go find him. We go into the village and kill or capture that high value target. And then when we're not doing that, we're also training our Afghan counterparts.
Right, right,
So
right.
yeah, yeah. So there's just a whole bunch of
Never a
different stuff.
boring moment.
Never a boring moment. Yeah, yeah. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that we do, and most most special operations. When I say special operations, I mean Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Air Force pararescue, Air Force combat control, stuff like that. They each have like specific things that they excel at, and so that's why those guys will get brought in. You know, if you need a force multiplier, if you need somebody to train up the local forces and and take the fight to the enemy if needed with the maximum effort, then you'll call Green Berets.
That's sounds pretty interesting, pretty cool to be honest. Yeah. And it's funny because we actually, myself and my partner were sitting there, we were the two of us were she said she had never seen Full Metal Jacket. So I was like, fuck it, we'll throw it on. Put it on Friday night. And we were watching it. And the first thing, obviously, in Full Metal Jacket is the training sequence
Yeah,
with Vincent D'Onofrio. And, they point out it's like 8 weeks of training. And she kind of looks at me and she's like, they're going a bit hard on them, aren't they? And I was like, well, it's 8 weeks to make fucking killers out of these guys who are in a life or death situation constantly.
yeah.
I suppose my question for you is it when you say like the training is hard, is it like that? Is that literally what you're walking into? What you see in Full Metal Jacket, is that almost identical to what you're dealing with on a daily basis when you're training for like Green Beret and stuff like that?
Now, well, so you got to stand Full Metal Jacket. It's a Hollywood,
Oh,
right?
I understand
It's
that. Yeah,
not.
yeah,
It is. Yeah, it's not only Hollywood, but it was also a much different time. Okay, so
yeah, I get
that
that
was
too.
during the Vietnam War, right? So those guys they graduate basic training and they're going to Vietnam.
Off to go, yeah, have to go. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now for us, um, yeah, there was certain parts that was really really freaking intense. So
yeah,
so there's various phases to get your Green Beret. So the whole pipeline from start to finish, from selection to you putting on a Green Beret, is anywhere from like a little over a year to almost 2 years, depending on what your job is. Um, and there's different phases. So you might go to language school for 4 months or 6 months or something like that.
yeah.
You might go to a school for a couple of months where you're learning tactics and drills and all sort of stuff and learning how to ambush people and everything. Well, one portion of it is SEER school, which stands for Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. In SEER school, you're taught a whole bunch of cool things, right? You're taught We taught how to set traps for animals, what plants you can and can't eat, how to break into cars, how to pick handcuffs and pick locks, and how to like if you're interrogated, how to put certain codes into the video, all sort of crazy stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so in one portion of it, you and a team of nine other guys are dropped off into the middle of the woods. Very little, very little equipment. You might have a poncho and a canteen of water, first aid kit, knife. Maybe that's about it, right? You're not given any food or anything like that. And so the thing is, you're on the run. People are after you, so you have to evade capture by teams of people with dogs and everything like that are actively looking for you. And so near the end of it, I did mine in the wintertime, so all the animals were sleeping and stuff like that. So we were
Yeah.
just our energy was spent, man. Like we had no energy. So then at the end, you think you're being rescued and you think you're being taken out of there and you're blindfolded and you're tied up, right? Because they're like, oh, we have to do this or do that, or they're gonna know that you're Americans and stuff. You're captured, and then they bring you to a basically a fake POW camp, and they just commence to beating the shit out of you for 48 hours.
What?
Yeah, yeah. So but it's all learning experience, right? So like these guys, like they'll beat the hell out of you. They'll beat the hell out of you. They'll torture you and dunk you in ice cold water and stuff like that, and just kind of leave you in like a little concrete cell, stuff like that. To put you like in a real tight little box to see if
Yeah.
you're claustrophobic, if you freak out, which some people in my group did. Yeah, a bunch of wild stuff. So so yeah, I got hits in 48 hours. I got hit probably like no lie, probably 25 times.
Fucking hell, it's
Yeah,
crazy. No, again,
yeah,
I understand why you'd want to go through all that kind of training because when the real deal happens, you need to know what's going on. You need to know how to handle yourself, obviously.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Again, I know it's a Hollywood movie, but again, when we were watching kind of the end of Full Metal Jacket, and there's just one point where they're all running in kind of formation, running across this area where there's snipers watching them. And I kind of thought to myself, if that was me, I would fucking freeze. I wouldn't be able to move. I just freeze out of fear. And then I
Yeah.
realized instantly, I was like, right, well, that's you dead. As soon as you freeze, you're dead, and you probably put someone else's life in
Oh
danger at
yeah.
the same time.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
everybody's moving in such a way that everybody's got everyone else's back. So as soon as you freeze, you fucked everything up for everybody. And it's
Yeah,
terrifying.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They teach us that even in I've been to advanced urban combat schools. So basically going through cities, going door to door, clearing buildings and stuff like that. And so when you go into a door, they drill it into your head, man, like no matter what, you cannot stop. Because if you stop and there's a bad guy in there, you and everybody behind you is dead.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's fucking yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Speaking of pressure, you don't like to make things easy for yourself. That's for sure. I know that from researching it. You do not like an easy life because you leave the military, a dangerous job, and go into a job that whew, I can't imagine anybody would want this job at all. You were literally a pedophile hunter for the government.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy
So
fuck, man.
yeah, you said it.
That's a tough,
Um,
tough job.
yeah. Yeah. So when I got back from Afghanistan, basically what happened was I went too hard for too long. My body shut down on me. Like I didn't have an easy button. So when I got back from Afghanistan, my body knew it's like, okay, you're safe now. I'm gonna shut down on you. And so I did a bunch of tests, MRIs and stuff. And my doc came up to me. He was like, Mike, you can't do your Green Beret stuff anymore, man. It's like, you have two options. We can attempt to hide you out and you can do paperwork for the rest of your career, or you can take a full medical retirement because I couldn't even wear body armor anymore. So I was non deployable and stuff like that. And knowing how I am, I can't do paperwork. Like while my team is getting ready for amazing missions and stuff like that and deployments, I'm just doing paperwork. No,
Teasing
I
you,
can't do it. I can't do
really.
that. I can't do that. That's torture on me. So I was like, I'm just gonna retire. So during my retirement process, I was approached by this organization and they were like, hey man, we just started this new program for wounded and disabled special operations guys like yourself to take down pedophiles using computer forensics. Are you in? And I saw the video, what it was about. And so again, I'm getting out as a Green Beret, right? So I get thrown a bunch of high dollar jobs, mercenary work and contracts and yada yada yada, get rich quick stuff. And then I was presented this, and they were like, "You're going to be an unpaid intern for 10 months, and then maybe you'll get brought on to a government agency afterward." And I was like, "A crap ton of money, no money, and maybe a job." But then I was looking at what it was for.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like if I went back overseas and I was a contractor or whatever, like if I get killed or captured or something like that, nobody gives a crap. But with this job, even though I'm not making as much money, I'm putting away monsters and I'm saving kids.
Well, money isn't
So
everything.
exactly, exactly. And so this right here gives me a new purpose in life. And so that's what I chose. And I tell everybody I'm a computer guy that hates computers because I really do. I hate computers, but I hate pedophiles even more. So so that's why I did it. Yeah. And so, oh man. So I went to training
Oh,
for that. And what's
yeah.
that?
I was just going to say, how do you do that on a daily basis and still live a regular life outside of it? How do you not bring that work home with you? Because I know, like, anytime, because obviously, I think everybody in their life has met a, well, we call them pedophiles in Ireland. You call them pedophiles over there. But we've
Yeah.
all kind of had one turn up in our life somewhere. Somewhere, someone gets found out somewhere along the fucking line, and you're like, "Holy shit, I didn't know that." And it
Yeah.
just makes your. It is something that's infuriating. The thought of it's infuriating. Anybody touching a child, and especially then when you have kids of your own, and you're looking at them, and you're thinking, "How the fuck could anybody look at you and want to do harm or do anything to you, bar just you know, be pleasant, be nice, give them everything they want." But I mean,
Yeah.
I just feel like if I was in your position, I'd be coming home in foul humor every night, and I'd be homicidal. I would.
Yeah.
I'd be wanting I'd want the computer would have to go. I'd have to hunt these guys down personally. It would
Yeah.
become a mission, you know. But it's how do you like do that on a daily basis and then come home to your regular everyday life and just get on
Yeah.
with it?
Well, so very quickly I saw the mental toll it was taking on me because I went from being a door kicking action guy hunting down Taliban to sitting at a computer, literally watching newborn babies get assaulted, right? And so it was messing me up big time. And so I realized I needed to find something that kind of balanced me out. And so I found this group. It's called GoRuck. It's a company called GoRuck. They start off as a gear company, but then they would take civilians out and lead them on like these ruck marches. Just like basically these long hikes with a bunch of exercises and military lessons and survival lessons and stuff like that. And I saw that, and I saw that all the cadre, all the instructors were current or former military special operations like myself. And so I reached out and I was like, "Hey, my name's Mike. I'm in Reno. I was a former Green Beret. I want to do this." And so I started doing that. They brought me on board once I proved I was who I said I was. And very quickly, I saw what it was doing to people, right? It was taking people out of their comfort zones and they were achieving things that they didn't know that was possible, right? And folks that didn't have friends, now they were making friends and it was changing lives. And I saw that and I saw it was changing them. And so then it turned and started changing me, right? So it balanced me out, right? So now I'm doing something completely opposite of what I'm doing at work.
Mhm.
And I did that for like 5 years, but again, I'm 100% disabled. Um, my body hurts all the time. And so my body was breaking down. So I had to get out of that. And that's when I got into acting. I was like, I still need to do something, man. I need to do something that's completely different from what I had to look at work.
Yeah.
And it has to be mostly non-physical. And so I decided to try acting. So I started acting. I auditioned for a role in a stage play. So I started acting on stage.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But
Now,
I saw how much time that was taken away from my personal life. And so that was like, let me go try, let me go try acting in movies and stuff. And so,
because that was going to be my next question. How do you go
yeah,
from military and pedophile hunting to making films? Do you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
from one
yeah,
to the
yeah. I
other.
know it's,
I was just
yeah,
wondering, was there a background there, or was this just, I suppose, a hobby that started to get out of control?
yeah. Well, I started acting on stage, and it turns out I loved it, man. Like I had such a great time. But again, the stage life, it was taking way too much of my personal time. And so that's when I decided to try to get into movies. And so I saw a casting call for a movie called it was called The Flock, and they were casting for mercenaries. And so I was like, well, shoot, I was pretty much that in real life. So if I can't get this role, then maybe I shouldn't be acting. And so I went, yeah, so I went there, and that's where I met Dylan Brown, of my often partner in Tahoe Joe and stuff like that. And I remember going in there and stuff, and I got the role. And I remember uh, the female mercenary. She raised her hand. She was like, "Hey, is there somebody that's going to teach us like tactics and stuff like that? Because we might not know any of this stuff." And Dylan was like, "Oh yeah, I have a airsoft buddy that'll come and teach you guys." And normally, unless it's like a podcast or something like that, I don't talk about like my Green Beret stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about puppets or some shit, right? So, but at that point, I couldn't hold it in. I was like, he mentioned being trained by airsoft guys and stuff. I was like, I'm a I'm a Green Beret. Like I can do that. And so right then and there, we just kind of hit it off. And
Yeah.
so it's been taken off from there. Then I transformed into making my own movies and everything like that. And it's been a blast, man. It's been a
And
blast. It's been a great outlet.
what was it about found footage that drew your attention? Because a lot of nearly most of your movies are found footage. I haven't seen all of them yet. I'm working my way through them, but from what I've seen so far, it's found footage the whole way through. So what was it about found footage that pulled you in, that got your attention?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. I don't even like found footage movies. Like people have found footage groups are like, oh hey Mike, have you seen this? It's like, no, I haven't. I don't really like found footage movies. Well, the thing is, found footage is the very first movie I worked on. So The Flock is a found footage movie, right? So I saw how doable it is. So to make a found footage movie, you can make it to where you don't need a giant crew. You don't need tons of money, right? So it's within grasp of anybody with a cell phone, right? And so that's kind of what drew me to that. And at first with Dylan Brown, we made Tao Joe. I'm sorry, we made The Flock, and then he asked me about doing Tao Joe, and so we did Tao Joe, which is a found footage mockumentary. From there, we made Ghost, which is kind of a spin-off of The Flock. It's focused on my character from The Flock, the mercenary called Ghost. And I mean, it's just fun. It's fun. Like while I don't sit around and watch a bunch of found footage movies, I do enjoy making them.
Yeah,
And I enjoy the challenge because with me, everything has to make sense, right? Like, what's the reasoning? Why is this character holding onto a camera instead of just getting the hell out of there and staying
yeah,
alive, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, like, I kind of have a similar kind of mindset. I can go through stages of found footage, but then I'd have to go on to something else and come back to it. But a big thing I did find with found footage was for me, this podcast was kind of my release, my way of doing something different, something for myself.
Hmm.
And because movies seemed out of reach, it seemed like
Yeah.
impossible. There's no way I could get to that level. And I was researching something for we were doing House of 1000 Corpses and the whole Firefly trilogy. And I watched the documentary and I'm watching Rob Zombie go around and all the shit he's got to do to make this movie work. And that just doubled me down on I can't do that. No fucking way
Yeah.
can I do that.
Yeah.
It's too much,
Yeah.
too many people to deal with straight off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm watching found footage and I'm like, all you need is a GoPro, a phone, and a good idea. And this will
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we see that with like the likes of the Blair Witch, which was fucking huge. And that's just three improv people in the middle of the woods, just, you know, going for fucking broke. And it's inspiring to be honest with you, because I do have a lot of ideas in my own head that I thought,
Hmm.
I can get this out. And now suddenly it's, well, if I can get the script right and I can get the story right, this is within reach. This isn't
Yeah.
completely impossible. And it's from watching movies like the movies you make and stuff like that and thinking, it's not because I mean that's the thing about that, because I did kind of go backwards. I hate found footage. And then I watched Tahoe Joe, and there's a difference in the style, obviously, of I Hate Found Footage. And Tahoe Joe is very much more serious than I Hate Found Footage. And
Hmm.
I'm watching, I'm like, this is a fucking really good idea. And it's a, and then you watch it go over three movies, and it's constantly changing. There's constantly something different in each movie,
Yeah.
and it's developing. And I'm like, this is I could do something like this myself. This is
Hmm.
pretty cool. Like you just need a good idea, like he had. And even Tahoe Joe, the look of him. Me and my partner Amy, we were sitting there and we were watching it, and we were like, that's one of the scariest looking Bigfoots we've seen in movies, like just that shaggy hair that makes it even harder for you to make them out. And again, it's that
Yeah.
Harry and the Hendersons kind of comparison of the camouflage, because that's always a cool part at the end of Harry and the Hendersons, where Harry's standing there and suddenly the rest of his family just kind of appear, and you're like, Jesus Christ, they
Yeah.
were there the whole time. I didn't see
Yeah.
him. But you can see how Tahoe Joe is going to be able to slip around in the background
Hmm.
unnoticed because of that shaggy hair. But it's real. I don't know. There was just something more scary about him than other big feet big feet. This is always Bigfoots that I've seen, But yeah, it was great movies. I really did enjoy them. And then it goes on because you do the whole Joe Bros kind of thing. So it's not just a three
Yeah.
movie franchise. There's more. You chase
Yeah.
some aliens, some witches. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose before I get into I hate found footage, at the end of Tahoe Joe, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, but at the end of Tahoe Joe 3, you're pretty much saying you're closing the chapter on the Joe Bros. Is that a legitimate end? Or is there more to come? Was that little post-credit scene a little kind of tease that no, we're going to keep going at some point?
I mean, never say never,
Yeah.
but as of right now and our thinking now, that's it. Because the thing was, dude, Tao Joe, it didn't mean to turn into a three-film trilogy.
uh,
Like it was, my buddy Dylan came up to me at the premiere of The Flock, and he talked to me about, hey man, I had this idea, like a passion project of mine that I've been thinking about for a long time, and after working with you, man, you'd be perfect. Like, do you want to come along for this? Um, it was just going to be that one movie, but it really kind of took off, and people were wanting more. People were like, dude, we have to figure out what happened at the end of Tao Joe 1, what was going on. And so then we decided to make a part two. And with the plot twist of part two, after that plot twist with the hunters,
and the
it
government
was
aid
like,
and everything.
yeah, and the government agents and stuff like that. We were gonna stop it at part two, but then people were like, dude, we need a part three. So me and Dylan were talking. We are like, all right, man, this needs to be it. like we don't want to just do Bigfoot stuff. you know, like we're our own men. We each have different
Oh,
styles of filming, so we want to kind of branch off. So we
I
were
think
like, all
my
right, let's.
question is more the Joe Bros franchise finished as opposed to Tahoe Joe. Are you done completely? Like, because I mean,
Yeah,
fair enough,
yeah,
the
yeah,
trilogy of
yeah. As
Tahoe
of now,
Joe, but
yeah,
I mean, because
yeah.
you were the
You know,
cryptid
like, yeah,
hunters.
we had talked about it. We had talked about branching off from Taojo and doing like other cryptids and stuff like that, and even making like a short episodic series. Where we're tackling a new cryptid each episode. Each like 20 or
Yeah,
30-minute episode and stuff like that. But as of right now, we're like, nah, we're both too busy, man. You know,
yeah.
too busy and
Uh,
and just kind of going off on our own. We still come together for a bunch of stuff every now and then, but has nothing to do with cryptids.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you do actually have a TV show as well, don't you? Hang on, just get Midnight Feature.
Yeah, yeah. So another one of the horror dads, Dustin Tamplin, he actually lived in Texas when he first met Dylan and I. And then I don't know. I guess we brought him up here. So, he liked working with us so much, and he liked Reno so much. He moved over to Reno. So now we all live within 15 minutes of each other. Me, Dustin, and Dylan. And so Dustin wanted to do a found footage series called Midnight Feature.
Mhm.
And so with the first season, he asked each director on the episode. He's like, "Hey, here's my ideas for episodes. Which one do you want?" And so I took a couple, and Dylan took one, and stuff like that, and we kind of made our own thing. Basically, we just had to stick with the bullet points of Dustin's ideas, and then that's actually been very very popular on Tubi. And then he wanted to make a season two, and so for
Okay,
season
so we
two,
got
we
a
pretty
season two.
we yep, season two's coming. Uh, it's coming maybe August or September on Found TV.
Okay.
And I directed two episodes of season two. One of them is called Here Kitty Kitty, and me and my wife we were talking one day about like we have a cat. He's an outdoor cat. Like he goes off and I don't know, goes with his cat girlfriends or whatever he does. We were
Yeah.
like, man, like it'd be amazing like if there was a cat camera on him. And so that idea just spawned me coming up with this episode,
Sorry.
Here Kitty Kitty. So Here Kitty Kitty is told from the point of view of a
Yeah,
camera on the cat's collar.
that's awesome. I like that idea.
Yeah, yeah. Which I play the cat and stuff, and so I have like a little cat paw and everything. Meow. It's fantastic. Very colorful. Like I'm big on colors, so I want to put a bunch of colors and make it happy, but then it turns like really dark. And so I have another one that has to do with the Native American lore around these parts. I live next to a couple reservations,
Mhm.
and so one of the local actors, he's full-blooded Native, and so I pitched the idea to him, and so he went on his reservation, and we filmed another episode of that. So, season two is fun. Season two is fun. There's 5 episodes, so it's a good time.
I'm only I only started watching yesterday, so I only have one episode down already. It was the ride share guy,
Yeah,
the
yeah, that
ride
was
share.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was
I like
that was
that one.
me and my wife there. Me and my wife got together, and the
And
opening, the
even
girl in the opening,
yeah,
the commercial, that's my sister-in-law.
yeah, yeah. Ah, because I've seen your wife another time. I watched as well yesterday was Alien BTS.
Yeah,
And you and your wife get taken off by aliens in that one too, and freaking Tahoe Joe's running around the place causing havoc in that one as well. Um,
yeah,
so I mean
yeah,
it's a big thing I noticed about all your movies is that there seems to be a great sense of community amongst you and your crew and your and all of
yeah,
you, all the different directors and actors. I mean, it doesn't seem like anyone's there with the illusions of becoming Hollywood royalty or anything like that. You all just have a goal of getting your ideas out there and doing it together as a group and doing it together as a community. And it's really nice to see. Again, it's
yeah,
inspiring, and it I think your films aren't hurt by it. They're actually helped by it. It doesn't hinder your films. It makes them, I don't know, more endearing to watch to see all of you kind of working together constantly. And even
yeah,
in some cases, you can tell some of the actors mightn't be the most experienced, but they're definitely people who are close to you and that are comfortable in what they're doing because they're around you. I mean,
yeah.
It's something, to be honest with you. I was from researching you. There's a lot to admire about what you've done in your life. I mean, you usually, like you said yourself, you've never taken the easy way, but the hard way. It hasn't been so much a hard way of doing things. It's just been a hard way for you to live, but it's always for the betterment of somebody else. You seem to be very much
Yeah.
of the mind frame of giving back to your community, of bringing people together, and a lot of positivity, which is that's one thing I love about the horror genre. Is a lot of people look from the outside, people look at horror, people like spooky fucking Adam's Family style people, but in the reality of it, there is so much, so many pleasant, nice, good people in the horror industry that it's just it's amazing to watch. But it
Yeah.
really bleeds through in your work that you can
Hmm.
see everybody is close and tight knit, and it really, really does bleed through the movie, like you know.
Yeah, appreciate that,
Um,
man. Getting into this, like I do this for like my mental health. Again, to give myself a balance and stuff like that. But one thing, uh, a surprising thing happens by doing all this is how much joy like my friends and family get out of it as well. Right. So a lot of the stuff that I make, it's with like real life friends and family. Like I don't give a shit about the best actor for the job or anything like that. I'm not going through talent agencies to find some high priced actor to be in my movie. No, I'm getting somebody who I genuinely love being around, right? And then somebody that's going to be super excited to see themselves on a big screen.
yeah, yeah.
So getting my wife involved, my kids, like all my kids have been involved somehow, some way, in stuff. My little production company, Willow Rock Productions. Willow is my daughter.
Oh, nice.
And I became a director because I wanted to make something with her. I wanted some quality father daughter bonding time. And so there was a local film festival, a local short horror film festival, and I decided to make something with her, and it's called My Willow, and it ended up winning Audience Choice and Best Bad Guy.
Oh, amazing! I
And
gotta check that.
yeah,
Where's that? Is that available to watch? Or?
yeah. So that's on Found TV as well. Um, yeah, it's Down TV, they have like these shorts that they release, and it's like the season one of the shorts called My Willow. If you can't find it, I'll just send it to you. And again, it's the very first thing I made. I didn't know jack crap about editing. I used a cell phone, no other equipment at all. So it's not the best, but I really enjoyed making it with her. And it's out there
So,
for the world to see.
but you know, there's people who go to school to learn all this stuff. But I mean, you can learn stuff from trial and error too. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
telling you now, if you went back to episode one of It's Alive Alive podcast, it does not sound anything like episode
yeah,
100. It's Alive Alive. I've
yeah,
learned as I've went along. I've gotten better at what I do. I keep changing, buying better equipment, changing little details. I
yeah,
actually applied for a course in podcasting that starts next year. And when I was asked why I was doing it, I explained it. I know how to make everything sound good. I know what buttons to press. I just don't understand how it works. I don't know why it's
yeah,
making it sound, but I just know it works. So I keep doing it every week. But it would be nice
yeah,
to know
yeah,
how it all works. But
yeah,
trial and error is a lot to do with it, man. Just go out there and try, because my kids are 12 and 8. And one day they were walking around the house complaining about being bored because we weren't letting them play their video games in the middle of the day, and they'd go out and do something. And my kid looked at me and goes, "What should I do?" And I was like, "Well, you like movies, you like making films on your cat on your phone. Take your phone, go outside. I can watch everything you're doing on your phone from my phone. So don't go browsing or playing games. Go out there and make a movie with your friends." And they spent the entire fucking the next 2 or 3 months out there every day making their own little films, like you know.
Wow,
And
that's
again,
awesome.
it's just trial and error, and he
Yeah,
come in and asked me, "How'd you do this? How do I do that? How do I do this?" And constantly picking away at stuff. But again, it's just
yeah,
I think that's a fun way of figuring things out as well, is just going out there and trying it. And yeah, I mean, like again, I see to watch the Tahoe Joe series. There's nothing amateur about them. You know, they look like perfect. But I get what you're saying when it comes to found footage. Some of them can be a bit hokey, a bit kind of over the top and stuff like that, and it can be hard to watch phone footage. Like, you can dip in and out of it. But I find the
Yeah.
phone TV app is fucking great. I mean, I only
Oh
just
yeah.
found that app. And the deal they have on it is great. I mean, the fact that it's free with ads, and then you pay $5 and you got access to everything. And there's so much on it and stuff like that. But
Ah, dude. Yeah, I love those guys, man. Louis and Monica, amazing, amazing people. And what's really cool is I've been with them since their launch date. Like even before they launched. My first solo written and directed movie is called The Murder of the Monster. And that one, if you haven't seen it, that one's a hard watch. It deals with
I've been
domestic
afraid to
violence.
watch it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that is definitely warranted because it's a hard watch, man, but it's something I wanted to make, right? Like, yeah, I can do the Bigfoot stuff, I can do the puppet stuff, but as a filmmaker, I also possess certain tools that, I can get stuff out there and bring awareness. And so I've been around domestic violence for a very long time, right? And so I wanted to get that word out there. And in turn, it actually helped people. I've had people message me. The Everybody in that movie has been involved in domestic violence some way or another, right? And so it was very important for me to make that. And Louis and Monica on Found TV, they picked it up, and it was right there on the launch day. And so they've been like a family ever since. They love our stuff, and we chat often. When I told them about my new puppet movie, they were all over it. So yeah, Louis said it was a breath of fresh air, something completely different.
No, I will suck it up in the next few days and try and watch that movie. But the only reason I'm apprehensive is I got geez, about 4 or 5 months back, another director messaged me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to watch my new paranormal movie?" And I was like, "Shit, yeah, sure, Ghost. Let's throw it on. Let's watch it."
Mhm.
It was 50 minutes, and the quote is on his poster now. I was like, the grimmest 50 minutes of my life, and I mean it in the best possible way because the message was top notch. I mean, I love the fact that he was getting that domestic abuse kind of message out there. And, I was watching, I was like, I know so many people that are exactly like that dude, and I know so many women who are putting up with that kind of shit from their
Yeah,
partner, supposed partner. I mean, that message needs to be put out there, but fuck me, was it a hard watch? It was a
yeah,
tough
yeah.
evening, you know. And I'm kind of expecting the same thing from your version of this. And I'm like, shit, do I?
So
How do I prepare
yeah,
myself to sit down and watch
yeah, yeah,
abuse for
yeah,
an hour and a half or whatever? Do you know?
yeah. So I had a cast and crew premiere at my house, and when it was all done, there was a mixture of ugly crying, hugging, and silence. And some of these people, they came up to me, tears in their eyes, just hugging me, thanking me because they've been through some crazy stuff. So then it inspired somebody to leave their monster. It inspired another girl to get therapy and actually take her monster to court. So it's it's a gut punch. And since you've seen I Hate Found Footage, you're going to see Ali in a different way because the monster in The Murder of the Monster is Ali and I Hate Found Footage.
No way.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
And I
okay.
tell you what, he afterward he was like, Mike, I love you. That was great, but I will never watch that movie again. Like it messed him up. It messed us all up, right? So that movie it actually took 4 or 5 months longer to film than I had anticipated because of the emotional toll it took on all of us. Like
Leave it.
like the main cast of that movie, some of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life, especially the monster in that movie. My buddy Eddie Blake, just a sweetheart of a man. And so for him to have to transform like that and do the stuff he did in the movie, yeah, I messed him up.
I
So
can
I am
imagine,
forever
man.
thankful to that man. Yeah,
But see, again, it's another one of those cases of like when we were talking about the pedophile stuff earlier on. Unfortunately, it's something that pretty much everyone experiences in their life, or knows somebody that's experienced this in their life or in their
yeah,
family, immediate family. It seems to just be rampant. Like, you're not going to get through life without meeting someone who has been severely abused by someone they're supposed to trust, and
yeah,
it's terrifying. It's terrifying. And to be honest, it's always a shame that it turns out to be the man that's the asshole. We have to kind of constantly apologize for our gender a lot of the times. It's like, well, we're the
Yeah,
ones doing all the bad shit around here. So there needs
yeah,
to be a few good guys bleeding through and making movies like that to kind of show there is good people out there, and we're trying to get the message out and stop these people, you know, or at least, like you said, allow someone to watch that movie who's going through it and think, shit, I'm going through that same thing. I need to get out. You know, I need to get away from this,
yeah,
get myself into a better situation.
yeah. So I will tell you, the Murder of the Monster. It's what happens is extreme, right? But there's definitely parts of that movie where you know a lot of people could say, "Oh man, that same thing's happening to me." Like for example, putting a blame on herself. Well, it's this is my fault, stuff like that. No, it's not. A guy beating on you is not your fault.
No,
You
no,
know.
no, no.
So yeah, so it does have some of that, but it does go to that extreme area where I mean, well, I know it's happened, but fortunately, it doesn't happen as much. So but yeah, I mean, if you
No,
watch it, cool.
thankfully.
If you don't watch it, I mean, I 100%
No,
understand. I don't expect anybody to watch
I'm a fucker for being a completionist. I need to once I start
that.
watching, once I get in a roll, I gotta consume everything and get it all into my
Yeah,
head.
yeah,
I will get to it. Might be the last one of your movies I watch, but I will get to
yeah.
it. No, I mean that begs the question: how does a man go from the serious tone, a serious-ish tone of your Tahoe Joe movies, a movie about domestic violence, and then suddenly find himself running around a woods with two puppets attached to himself?
Well, so I brought up my daughter Willow, and we made that movie, My Willow, and the uh, the same. I'm sorry, can't think of the word. Uh, the same film festival was coming up, right? It was coming up, and I want to do something with her again. And so I was thinking, I was like, man, what can I do? Well, since meeting my wife and her kids, I say my daughter, but she's in reality is my stepdaughter. My wife has four kids from a previous marriage. So they took to me really quick. And I would have to go out of town for work every once in a while for like a week or two at a time. And so I knew that they would miss me. So what I did was I got myself a puppet. I got myself a cow puppet. And so when I would be out of town, I'd make these little cow videos of like this guy, Calbert, going on like these little adventures and stuff like that, talking to the kids and stuff. And they loved it. And so when it came time for that film festival, I was like, you know what? I want to do something with Willow again and the puppet. It's like, but I don't want it to be some like any old puppet that you could buy on Amazon. So I found a company that custom makes puppets out of Thailand. You can pick every little aspect of them. And so I decided I was going to do a movie with her and a puppet. And I have no idea how I thought of it, but it was a movie traditionally shot about this little girl and her puppet brother, and they order pizza. It's called Jack. It's called Willow and Filbert's Bad Pizza. And the premise of this is this little girl and her puppet brother order pizza. Well, it turns out the pizza delivery men from this pizza company, Jackie's Wild Pizza, they turned into zombies because of this new chemical that they're using on the pizza boxes to help keep the pizzas fresh, right? And so then, of course, they order pizza and they see this news broadcast and stuff like that. And then the doorbell rings, and Willow's like, "Don't answer the door." He's like, "But I'm hungry. I gotta answer the door." And of course, it's a zombie, you know. And so it's super cute, man. It's super cute. I'll send that to you
Yeah.
as well. And and I just had so much freaking fun with my puppet. I was like, dude, I gotta do something else. And I was thinking, I was like, what can I do? It's like, I'm gonna make a found footage movie. I'm gonna make a found footage movie picking on found footage movies.
Yeah.
And so my buddy Eddie Blake, we've been talking for years now. We've always wanted to do something together that's like funny because we get along great. And so when I thought of making I Hate Found Footage, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a second puppet and I'm gonna ask Eddie if he wants to join in with me. And absolutely. Like he was like, yes, hell yes, I'm down.
Yeah.
And he was so happy and stuff. Then I gifted him the puppet. I met up with him one day after the puppet came in, and I gifted it to him and stuff. And he's sending me silly videos of the puppet driving the car and singing songs, singing Lady Gaga. And it was just a blast, man. Yeah, it was right
Ah,
here.
shit. There we got him. Amazing.
Hello, Doc.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
They're really good puppets. I mean, like I equated them to they're very Sesame Street looking. Joe
Yeah,
old
yeah, yeah.
Sesame Street, and they're really good quality. I mean, what was that when it came to the dialogue? Then was a lot of that just done on the fly, or did you actually have all that stuff scripted? Because it
So
feels
I'd say,
kind of just it feels like you're just bouncing off each other the whole way through. So it was hard to tell.
yeah, I'd say probably 70% was scripted, and then 30% was just him and I on the fly,
Yeah.
just riffing off each other. For example, the camp scene, like
Yeah.
like in the script, I have, very few lines and stuff like that written in there. So we're just gonna come in and go to each camper and stuff like that. And so we did two takes of that, like I told you, and we just did our thing, man.
Because you drop all the gimmick for that part. You're
Yeah,
calling
yeah,
who they are, what they are, and you're ripping into them. I was, me and my partner, we just looked at each other. We were like, "There's no way we could get through that without laughing."
yeah, yeah,
Or they
dude. It
fucking
was
staying so still.
it was it was it
Um,
was so fun, man. It was so fun.
and what was it like? What was the actual I suppose the mechanics of making it all work? What was it like filming a found footage movie with a puppet?
It was actually pretty easy,
Yeah,
So yeah, so when we were filming stuff, it was usually a crew of three. It was me, Eddie, and remember I don't know if you remember, there's a girl at the very end that Ollie's talking to, and he's trying to like hit
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's my friend Claire. So she was the production assistant for the whole movie. And so if Filbert is not on camera, then I'm holding the camera. If Filbert's on camera, Claire's holding the camera. Right. And so we just, all three of us worked very well together. We kept it at puppet level and stuff like that. So it was actually pretty easy, you know.
We just assumed that there was a third person there holding the camera because we were guessing he needed the two hands for the puppet, one in the puppet and one controlling the hand. So one controlling the mouth, one controlling the hand. So we kind of came to the conclusion ourselves. It was like, well, there's got to be someone in between the two of them panning the camera
Yeah,
back and forth. Because
yeah,
they have to use two hands to control the puppet, like So, but
yeah.
that's interesting, and I really did enjoy it. And the funny thing about it, though, I was like halfway through the movie. It was actually closer to the end of the movie, and they're hiding behind a tree. And again, my partner turned on, and she was like, this is so. I can't remember what she said. She said something about it being found footage, and I was like, I'll stop you right there. As soon as those two puppets came on screen, this stopped being a found footage movie. She was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, it can't be a found footage movie. The premise of found footage is it's real. As soon as we see the
Yeah.
puppets, it's no longer found footage. It's two puppets going out to make a found footage movie. It
Yeah.
stopped being found
So
footage that second."
yeah, so I know what you're talking about. So are you talking about the part where it shows the camera, or it shows all four of them like huddled up together behind the
Can't
tree, hiding
remember
behind the tree?
now, but yeah. While the cult are kind of walking around looking for him or getting
Yeah,
close to
yeah.
him.
So in that part, so Ollie drops his camera. And so Filbert says to him, "Hey Ollie, you dropped your camera." So because I wanted a nice shot of all four of the two people and then the two puppets hugging each other. So I placed the camera on the ground, and yeah, so Ollie drops his camera. Yeah. So I wanted to get that nice wide shot of the group. So
Oh, is it?
but yeah, but I was talking to somebody else, and yeah, it's found footage, but there's puppets, so of course it's not real. But one this one girl I showed the movie to, she was like, dude, at one point I completely forgot they were puppets. Like I thought
I
like
was
they were
just
like
about to
alive.
say that. I was
Yeah.
literally just about to say that. It was like, despite the fact that they're found, that they're puppets, I found myself worrying about them. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
what are
yeah,
you doing, Ali? Get away from him,
yeah,
quick, run.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, dude. It's just like when you're watching Sesame Street or one of the Muppet movies or something like that. It's like you just get so invested in the movie and so just
Uh,
drawn in that you completely forget like they're puppets. So when you see a stick on Kermit's hand because somebody's moving his hand, it's like that's right, he's not real.
you know what? That didn't bother me because there was one or two scenes in your movie where you see the stick come up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and because of me being brought up on Sesame Street, and I watched that, it used to be on every Sunday morning here in Ireland. It was every Sunday morning during the 90s, Sesame Street. And so I'd get up early in the morning, watch a few cartoons, then Sesame Street would come on. And then wrestling was after that. So that was just the perfect morning for me. And yeah, just seeing the little stick on the puppet's hand, it didn't bother me because, again, I was so used to Sesame Street. I was used to seeing
yeah,
that
yeah,
stick on
yeah,
Kermit's hand. So it was like, that's just how puppets are. That's how puppets work. Ignore it, keep going, you know? But
yeah, yeah,
like I said, you're invested. You want to see what's going to happen next to them. You want to see how they react to everything next because a lot of this movie, it is a spoof movie, and it is kind of making fun of a lot of
yeah,
the tropes, like the long walking scenes where they're just yapping to each other, but nothing's really happening. Ollie even has his little scene with the camera in front of his face, where the Blair Witch style.
yeah,
I'm so
yeah,
scared
yeah.
right now, you know, with Filbert coming up behind him, going, "What the fuck are you doing?" But it is. It's a lot of fun, and it's just like making fun of the tropes as you go along. Just the little tiny things,
Yeah,
but they're all done in good faith, good humor. There's no kind of insulting anyone's intelligence or making fun of the actual genre. You're just having fun with it, and
yeah,
you can see it. You can see it the whole way through the movie, and even down to the ending when Filbert does finally turn Tally, and it was just like, "Will you drop the camera, and let's run," you know. um, but yeah, it was an enjoyable movie. It really was. But to be honest with you, like I told you when I first spoke to you, I heard the word puppet and I was sold.
yeah,
I'm an instant sucker for puppets.
yeah.
It seems to be a big. I don't know. Is it just coincidence? But there seems to be a lot of these kind of movies coming out at the moment. Like literally, yours was the third puppet movie we had watched that week. There was the
Oh
Fuzzy,
yeah.
Monkey's Magic Merry-Go-Round. I don't know if you've seen that one yet. That one's
I
really,
saw the trailer. Yeah,
yeah, it's fucked up. It's a weird fucked
yeah,
up one, but it is fun. It is fun, a lot of fun again, but it is yeah, it's a weird one. Much more serious than your movie. Your movie's a lot more lighthearted. It's a lot. Yours is a lot more fun. I'd let my kids watch your movie. I don't know about Monkey's Magic Mary. We're on
yeah.
just yet. But and no, you're saying that before this one's even released, I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag here. That you're planning a sequel.
Yeah. Yep. I'm planning the sequel, man. Yep. It's called I Hate Found Footage 2. TOO.
You showed me the poster that you had mocked out, the
Yeah.
mock-up poster you had,
Yeah.
and I noticed that Ollie and Filbert will be joined by an extra puppet in that one, will they?
Two extra puppets.
Two
Yep.
extra puppets, so
Yep.
double the
Yep.
fun.
I spoke to I ordered them already and they're on the way here from Thailand. I spoke to the owner of the company. The company's called Pubbets.
Ah,
Pubbets. Um it's it's just an amazing company and they've been super helpful and super great and stuff like that and they're all about having the puppets on the big screen and stuff and it is fantastic, man. Yeah, so I go in there and I customize everything. One of my good buddies is going to be another one of the puppets, so basically I gave him the site and I was like, design your puppet, dude, go for it. So he's going to design a puppet and then whoever works with me on the movie that is a puppeteer that gets the puppet, they actually get to keep the puppet afterward as like a thank you for helping me on a movie.
yeah, it's nice. Yeah, a
So
nice little kind of reminder of what they've done, which is nice.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and I won't ask you when that one's coming out because we're still dealing with when this was coming. Because in my review, I didn't know when this was
yeah,
being released. Now we know it's July 24th on Found TV. So
yeah.
that's today. Shit. Or a week or two ago for people
I
watching
know, a
this
month.
when it actually comes out. Oh,
Yeah, it comes out yeah,
July,
we're in June 24th. It comes out July 24th. So a
which is
month from now.
perfect because well, we're actually we're recording this a month before the release. It'll probably go up on the interview itself will probably go up online rather next week or the week after. So we will be building towards that. Um, yeah, that's awesome, man. I suppose a few quick small questions before I let you go because
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
kept you here a good while now. Um, general questions.
Hmm.
If found footage isn't your favorite horror, what is your favorite horror movie? Are you a big horror movie fan, or is
Uh,
it found footage that or is it just that you're in the found footage genre, or is horror
so
a
you know,
staple?
so when people find out that I don't like horror, they're kind of taken aback by it a little bit. But then when I explain, they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And the thing is, I don't really like horror movies that much. Um, uh, Basically, I've seen enough darkness in my life, like real world horrors, and I've gotten from my job, I've gotten so many nightmares and so much anxiety and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to watch horror, So the movies I like a lot of family movies, a lot of happy movies, comedies, and stuff like that. You know,
That's understandable. Like I said, what you've seen in real life trumps anything that's going to be put on camera.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
I have a
yeah,
kind of a different opinion on that. Whereas for me, horror movies are almost like real life has gotten so fucking dark now that horror movies are almost like the release. They're almost like the fantasy kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
pretend world where this is how horror should be. But I mean, fuck it, you can't turn on the news anymore without seeing horror right in front of your face every fucking day. So I mean, it is,
yeah,
and considering your military background, you've been in Afghanistan, you've been in Iraq, and you go on to your pedophile hunting job. I would imagine you're full right up to there with fucking horror, real life
yeah.
horror.
Yeah, same thing with war movies. People are like, "Oh, Mike, did you see this movie?" And thinking I'm gonna like it because it has to do with war and combat. And so I was like, "No, I,
Ah,
I don't like. I've seen enough of that stuff, man. I just when I'm not at work, I need to get happy. Is basically what it comes down to. Now
100%.
making a horror movie is totally different because when you're on a horror set, you're having an absolute blast.
I
Like
would
coming up
imagine so,
ways to kill
particularly.
people, like Dylan and my friend Mia and I had found footage. They had the pole stuck through their bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like coming up with that stuff, like that's super fun, man. It's amazing. But actually watching it is a little bit different.
Well, I like I said, I try to stay away from, I steer away from the really dark stuff because my partner finds it really strange that I have this weird fascination with looking at reading about true crime, like serial killers and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mainly because I'm fascinated with their background and how they lived regular lives. Not so much the killing part. When it gets to what they're actually doing, I'm kind
yeah,
of.
yeah,
So she's surprised then when she turns to me and she's like, I got this really good serial killer movie. Do you want to watch it? And I'm like, no, not really. I don't want to watch someone
yeah,
suffer for that. Like again, like stuff like Hostel, stuff like anything like that, where there's just people getting killed in a very aggressive, angry way with no weird, strange story behind it. When it feels too grounded and too real life, I'm out. I don't
yeah,
really want
yeah,
anything to
yeah,
do with it.
yeah,
And I prefer kind of more wacky horror, crazy horror. Like my Amy usually kind of calls it orange blood horror, is what she calls it. She's like, he watches orange blood horror, not the real red blood stuff and guts and gore. He wants the blood to look like it's from the 80s, the orange stuff coming up.
yeah, yeah.
Orange.
Now I am a sucker for killer clowns from outer space. That's
See
a
that
classic
kind
with
of
me.
stuff. That kind of stuff is what I'm talking about. That's really my
Yeah,
wheelhouse. Like
like
Return of the
kind of
Living Dead, stuff like
campy
that.
fun horror. Yeah,
Yeah, one hundred
yeah.
percent, 100%. I did notice on your Instagram one or two wrestling references. I see your son holding the world championship as he
Oh yeah,
graduated.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
saw you in your Macho Man Randy Savage gear. So are you a wrestling fan or was it just
I am because I watched wrestling since I was a kid. Yeah,
again something we have in common?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I'm big on wrestling, man. And I have been since I was probably eight, 8 years old, 9 years old, and it's because wrestling is a lot more than what people see, right? So you got a lot of people that go on there and they just came from a movie, watching a $200 million movie that's completely fake, and they'll down you for liking wrestling because it's fake. You know, and I hate that.
I don't know how many times.
Wrestling to me is you have a mix of actors and stuntmen doing improving stuff, going out there and improving, doing things on the fly in order to control the audience, right? And not only that, but they get one take at what they're doing in the ring, So not only do they have to do all this stuff with the acting and everything like that and staying in the character, but then they also have to say, hey, buddy, across the ring from me, here's my body. I'm completely trusting you with it. I'm completely trusting you not to break my neck, you know? And so then they go in there and there's all these working parts, man. And to me, man, it's beautiful. It's just something that's completely beautiful, especially some of these guys who have mastered the art of controlling the audience. Like
It is intoxicating. I can tell you.
it is. Yeah,
I did
yeah.
it for about 2 or 3 years here. I was on the independent scene for about 2 or 3 years, and I was
Oh,
always the bad
nice.
guy. Me and my best friend, we were a tag team, and we'd head out, and I fucking loved being the bad guy. I loved going out there. I loved being booed. I loved cursing the crowd. I loved cheating every second I was in that
Yeah,
ring
yeah.
and getting that reaction. And it was just so much fun. It was. It was a lot of fun. But like you said, there's
Yeah,
a lot more to it than people think. I mean, there is a
exactly.
lot of the whole thing of it's fake, you won't get hurt. Well, that's bullshit.
That's
There's
bullshit.
no way to there's no way to fake falling. You can learn
No,
how
no.
to land some bit, but you're still hitting that mat pretty hard, and especially in your early days when you're probably in the ring with other trainees or other guys coming up, you're more likely going to get hurt. I mean, my
Yeah,
first match, I came out of the ring, the adrenaline was hitting me so hard that I really couldn't feel anything. And after the show, they were tearing down the ring, and there was some girl that was at the show, came up to me and my tag team partner, like, "Can we get a picture with you?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, no problem." Took the picture, and then she showed us the picture on her phone. I was like, "When did I get a black eye? When did I get two black eyes?" So you don't feel anything while you're in there, but later
yeah,
on, the next morning when you wake up in that hotel room, holy shit, do you know you've been in a fight?
yeah,
But I'm the same wrestling fan since I was like you said, about 8 years old. I remember seeing wrestling for the first time in my grandmother's house and just being like, "What is this?" And again,
yeah,
people look, and this kind of again crosses over with my kind of attitude towards horror movies and real life violence. People can understand how I love professional wrestling, but do not watch any mixed martial arts or UFC or any of this stuff. And again, the main reason
yeah,
for
yeah,
me, I don't want to see anyone get really hurt. Do you know, when
yeah,
I'm watching wrestling, because I understand how it all works. When I see one of the wrestlers get legitimately injured in the match, I'm like, "Oh shit, is he okay?" And,
yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah,
prefer the fantasy of scripted violence rather than real life violence. I could never do
yeah,
what
yeah,
you've done with your life. What you've done with your life is you've seen some shit. I couldn't deal with that. I needed to be pretend. I needed to be all fake, all pretend, all the time. Which again is why I love doing the podcast we do, because instead of talking about true crime, we take fake movies and make them true crime. We pretend they're true crime, and we kind of go that way about it. And again, it takes a little of the edge off of the this person got killed that way, this person got killed, because they're not real people.
right.
They're
Yeah, yeah.
characters. But yeah, yeah. I mean, so when it comes to wrestling, what do you watch? Are you WWE? Are you Team AEW, Team WWE, or do you not give a shit?
Uh, I'm not part of a tribe, man.
Yeah, because it has gotten very tribalistic when it comes to
It
who
has
watch what are you
gotten very tribe.
watching.
It's kind of like back in the day. How old are you?
I'm 38. I remember the Monday Night
38.
Wars.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
in
I'm
the
46.
trenches for the Monday Night
Yeah,
Wars.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'm 46. So yeah, so I remember that. You had the people who were solely WCW, solely WWE or F at the time. Um, me, I was both. It's like what's going to entertain me, you know? So like AEW, they do some great stuff, very entertaining. WWE, they do some great stuff, very entertaining. Although WWE like main roster has been slip, in my opinion, slipping big time.
When all elite
Triple A,
wrestling
Triple
play,
A
they're
has
all.
been Triple A has been freaking awesome.
I
The
haven't
mask
started
versus
watching
mask.
Triple H yet. I
Have you
haven't.
seen
I
the
haven't.
oh
I've
my
seen
gosh. Yeah,
clips from the Mask versus Mask match, and I'm really intrigued to watch it. But I need
dude.
again,
He,
there's so much of it every week now that it's really
yeah,
hard to try and find time to fit everything in. And when it comes to wrestling styles, although I watch everything, I will prioritize AEW because I prefer the style of wrestling on it. And I actually do think that, yeah, maybe in the early years when they were building themselves up, there was some wrestlers I wasn't crazy about, but now it seems like a top to bottom roster of just what they are, what they say, elite wrestlers, real
yeah,
fucking top
yeah.
class. You're going to get an unbelievable match every time. And John Moxley, every time that guy walks out, I'm glued to the screen. Let's see what Mox has to do. When it comes to WWE, I think it's more the whole tribal chief, the bloodline that kind of keeps my interest over there, and Danhausen. But I kind of split it up as WWE is the family show you watch with your kids, and AEW is the adult show you watch, yourself, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
kind of work it out
yeah.
that way.
I get
But
that. Yeah,
I do want to check out AAA. I mean, I want to obviously I want to see what the Undertaker's booking skills are like, and
dude.
all
The
that
whole
kind of
the
shit.
whole mask versus mask thing. So they had a video package. It's basically the video package was in the style of like a comic book
Yeah.
before the match, and it was so badass. And then the whole match and just the emotions and stuff like that, like it was beautiful, man. It was awesome.
And it's
You know,
so
it got me
bizarre
all
how
teary eyed. Oh my god.
but it's bizarre how that works because we saw the same thing back in the 90s with the likes of Bret Hart. Bret goes to Canada or goes to anywhere that's not the USA and everyone's cheering him. Bret steps foot in the
Yeah,
USA, he's booed out the door. And then
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the same in this case where Chad Gable's down in Mexico and everyone's booing him, and then he comes out in America and everyone's cheering him, and it's really
yeah,
interesting to watch the psychology work and how everybody's thinking and how it all works.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like you said, you can't talk down about these guys because they are literally people who are going out, like you said, improving one take, real emotion, and it is one take because you were in front of a
yeah,
live audience. You don't get
yeah,
to do it again. Um,
yeah. And making it look as real as possible without actually hurting your buddy. You know,
yeah,
so and that's something I really appreciate too. Is like these guys don't make it look so real. And sure, it might hurt a little bit or whatever, but it's not nearly as much as they let
no,
on to believe. And that's part of the beauty of it. It's like, wow, that hit looks freaking wicked. Like, how is this guy not dead? It's because they're
see,
professionals, man. They know what they're doing.
and I think the big thing people don't understand about a lot of wrestling is a lot of the holds that the wrestlers use, if applied right, are real holds. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
remember being
yeah,
taught that day one, like it was my trainer came up and put me in a headlock, and he just had his hand like that, and he was like, "So how does that feel?" And I was like, "Fine, I can breathe, nothing." I'm perfectly fine. Next thing, he just twisted his wrist slightly, and I felt them tighten around my windpipe, and I was like, like that's how
yeah,
quick we can turn a fake move into a real move. You're like, holy shit! All right,
yeah, yeah, dude. I was working at Taco Bell when I was 16, and I told my buddy we were in the back washing dishes. I was like, "Hey man, come here, let me try something." I put him in a Taz mission because
yeah.
Taz and ECW were big back then, right? And so I put him in a Taz mission, and freaking with a quickness, man, dude just dropped. He was out. It was awesome.
That's crazy. um, all right, I think we've been going for well over an hour now. So, last question, and that is, where can people stay up to date with the latest news on all your projects and the hard ads projects and the Willow production projects?
All right, so you can find me on Instagram, Tadray, dot rock. You can find me on Facebook, Michael Rock. That's a picture of me and my wife. So you can find sift through all the other Michael Rocks. On YouTube, you can look up Willow Rock Productions. You'll find me on there. You could also go to the Horror Dads, Dads with a Z, on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. Actually, I did remember one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, yeah.
Filbert is in more than one movie. I found Filbert in a short yesterday as I was doing my research.
Did you?
Changed his desk for a game show.
Yep, yep,
So
yep.
if
Yeah,
you
that.
see I hate found footage and you want to see more of Filbert, you can get 9 more minutes of him on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, that was for a local film competition. Same people that put on the stuff that I made with my stepdaughter. This
Oh
was
yeah, the
for
cult leader.
Valentine.
The cult leader is sitting there tied up in the chair. The cult leader from
Yeah,
my
yeah,
hate found footage. So I recognized some heads as I was going through it.
yeah, yeah, yep, yeah. They were making a short film for this Valentine's Day film competition, and they were like, "Hey, do you mind if Filbert is in this?" I was like, "Absolutely, yes." Co-hosting the game show, absolutely. Filbert's down.
I'm Filbert is, no offense to anybody else in that movie, but that puppet was probably the best part of that movie. He just makes me laugh. I love how
Yeah.
cynical he is. You know, you have Ali walking around. Ali is just full of enthusiasm, and we're going to get this shit done. And Filbert's just there, like, get me out of here. You know, both in your movie and in the short, he's like trying to send little coded messages out, like, I need to get out of here. And obviously, in the end, we figure out that he was never really chained to the desk to begin with. So, but it's amazing, man. I really enjoyed it. But yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So I hate found footage coming to Found TV on July 24th. Again, Found TV is great, free with ads, $5, no ads, extra features. You get commentary, director's commentary, some extras. I think you were talking about putting was it
Yeah, my
oh,
blooper reel.
the blooper reel, yeah, that I asked you
Yeah,
for last week, yeah, up there and stuff like that. So there's a lot of extras there. It's really, really good. So go check that out in a couple of weeks. And before that, you have enough time to check out the Tahoe Joe movies, the Rock March. What else you got here? You got plenty. Hug and Molly, the Midnight Feature TV show. There is so much up there from Horror Dads Productions and from Willow Rocks and from you. So there's plenty to keep people busy with before I Hate Found Footage hits the air. But as soon as it's there, go check it out. It is awesome. And thanks for being here today, Mike. I've really enjoyed this.
absolute pleasure, my dude. Appreciate you.
And there you have it. That's my chat with Mike Rock about I Hate Found Footage. But let's be fair, we talked more about his life and his career than we did the movie. But it was interesting either way. If you want to see I Hate Found Footage, it will be available exclusively on Found TV on July 24th. If you haven't found the Found TV app yet, it is well worth going getting because I can get it free with ads and watch everything that's on there, or you can pay $5 a month and that will include extras like director's commentary, behind the scenes, blooper reels, stuff like that. It's amazing. It's well worth the money. So go check that out now, and definitely check out I Hate Found Footage on July 24th. Ollie and Filbert will have you in stitches, and I can't wait for I Hate Found Footage 2. Oh yeah. So that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with another fresh review. See y'all then. Same live time, same Harvard's channel. Okay, love ya. Bye-bye. If you like that, then check out our Patreon with subs, only $5 a month with a 7-day free trial. That's at the Horrorverse Network, only on Patreon.